There's a video making the rounds right now on social media of Pastor Matt Chandler. He's an evangelical Baptist out of Texas, and he gave a sermon back in 2020 after the George Floyd riots and the height of the Black Lives Matter movement. And, well, let me show you the video, and then we'll discuss.
One of the firms that's helping us find men said, let me ask you a question, Pastor Matt. If we find an Anglo 8 and an African American 7, which one do you want? I said, I want the African American 7. And he said, what if we find an Anglo 8 and an African American 6? And I said, then give me the Anglo 8, because the African American 6 will look and feel to our people like the kind of tokenism that I'm preaching against. It's another opportunity for us to find and give power away in a way that's not paternalistic, but man, we see in you the capacity to lead and love and shape, and we want you.
Chance for us to give power away, not in a tokenism kind of way, but a chance to let other people lead, people of color lead, to give power away. Now, remember that for a moment, because we're going to circle back to it. I think this video is flying around Elon Musk's social media pages there because there's a fight within the Christian community in America right now where wokeism, CRT, and other left-wing progressive secular ideas are making their way into biblically based Christian teaching. And that's a worthy debate and one that needs to be had. But I saw this clip of Pastor Chandler, again, from 3 years ago, and it struck me. There's something going on in America right now as we speak. It happens every day that relates directly to this message. Here's Matt Chandler, white evangelical Baptist preacher, thumping his chest, patting himself on the back, preening, virtue signaling about how if he was given the choice to hire somebody and he had a white 7 and a black 6, he'd hire the black 6. And that's to make us all feel good, make him feel good, because he's sharing power. He's giving power to that black 6, as he puts it. You see, yesterday in California, Senator Dianne Feinstein, who is 90 years old, tripped and fell in San Francisco. She had to be hospitalized. Now, this comes after months of hospitalization earlier this year when she had shingles. Dianne Feinstein she's just not up to the job right now. She is not capable of being a U.S. senator. We've seen a video of her not knowing where she is, not knowing what she's supposed to do, not knowing how she's supposed to vote. She's got staffers telling her how to vote right now. Gavin Newsom is the governor of California. Should Dianne Feinstein have to step down, or is in fact found to be incapable of finishing out her term, which ends next year, Gavin Newsom would replace her. Gavin Newsom, a white man, would replace Dianne Feinstein. And what promise has he made? Well, here's the LA Times headline from back in April. Newsom promises to appoint a black woman as senator. He doesn't know who it is. I don't know what the qualifications are. I don't know whether the best person, but I'll tell you this, it'll be a black woman. A white man in a position of power giving power to a black person, because it makes him feel better, makes us all feel better. It reminded me again of Joe Biden when he was running for president. Congressman Clyburn of South Carolina. Remember, South Carolina was the big primary where the black vote came out, gave that primary to Biden, and that was the beginning of Joe Biden securing the nomination for president. He owed Jim Clyburn, and Jim Clyburn reportedly demanded that his running mate would be a black woman. Doesn't matter who it is, doesn't matter what the qualifications are. We want a black woman. And we got Kamala Harris, and boy, isn't she great. That's not the only time Joe Biden promised to appoint a black woman to a position of power. Remember this from the debates back in 2020.
Number one, I committed that if I'm elected president and have an opportunity to appoint someone to the courts, I'll appoint the first black woman to the courts. It's required that they have representation now. It's long overdue.
There you go. Another white man making himself feel better and making all of us feel better because he is sharing power with a black person, a black woman. In this case, ended up being Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, who, in her first major decision that she authored in the Supreme Court about affirmative action, she grabbed a fake story off of the internet, some story about how black children perform better and get better treatment if it's a black doctor. It was fake. It was phony. There was no reality or truth to it, but it found its way in to her decision because she got appointed to the Supreme Court because she was a black woman. That's the bottom line here. So here we've got this white pastor in Texas preening and grandstanding and getting all of this adoration because he wants to specifically hire a less qualified black man than a more qualified white man. You've got Gavin Newsom saying, listen, if Dianne Feinstein has to leave, I don't care who the person is, but I promise you it's going to be a black woman. Joe Biden not only picking his running mate, but also picking a Supreme Court justice with a lifetime appointment solely based on race. And it got me thinking. It got me wondering. It got me really scratching my head. Why are all these white men in power getting all of this praise and all this adoration and all this credit for hiring a black person as their subordinate? Think about that for a minute. Sure, I'll hire a pastor here, a deacon, an elder here at my church who's black, as long as I still get to be in charge, as long as I'm the top dog, me, the white man with all the power. Sure, I'll appoint a U.S. senator who's a black woman. I'll get lots of praise, great headlines from the LA Times about it, as long as I still get to be governor. Yeah, I'll make sure I appoint a black woman as my vice president, and I'll even throw you a bone and send someone over to the Supreme Court. But don't you come anywhere near my resolute desk in the Oval Office. I mean, if Joe Biden really feels like it's important that white men should no longer be in power in this country, then he should resign immediately and give his power to Kamala Harris. In fact, he shouldn't have even run for president in the first place. I mean, he is the quintessential old white guy. And he was so intent on making sure that his running mate was a black woman. But what about him? Why doesn't he just step down? Why doesn't he hand his power over? Same with Gavin Newsom. If Gavin Newsom is so intent on making sure that a black woman goes to the U.S. Senate, he should really do something better than that. Forget about the Senate. We've had plenty of black women in the Senate, but we've never had a black woman as governor of California. Gavin Newsom, put your money where your mouth is. Show us some cojones. Step down right now and insist that a black woman replace you. It's always amazing that they're virtue signaling and preening over sharing power with a black person when they're never intent on giving up their own power that they latch onto with their talents. Which brings us back to Preacher Matt Chandler. I mean, really, are we supposed to praise you? Are we supposed to laud you? Are we supposed to be impressed? It's really simple, sir. You're the pastor of that church. You want to right some historic wrongs? You want to help lift people up? Step down right now. Give up your salary, give up your job, give up your title, give up all the royalties you get from your books, and insist that your church appoint a black man to replace you. Go ahead. We're waiting. There's more to come on O'Connor tonight.